Hi everybody, it's been drawn to my attention that a restaurant, specifically a burger restaurant in Australia called Tuk Tuk, have come under fire for mocking a vegan customer. I'll read the article here and give some commentary as we go. A burger restaurant in Australia has come under fire after its co-owner mocked a vegan customer and ranted that people who follow the lifestyle are Nazi-like. In a comment which has since been deleted from the Tuk Tuk Facebook page, co-owner Mark Cluse wrote that the restaurant had its first vegan customer and she was, quote, wearing a tie-dyed t-shirt, end quote. Quote, "It went as well as could be expected," he wrote, and said she chose the falafel burger without yogurt or butter, according to a screenshot published on australiannews.com.au website. He went on to accuse her of not being, quote, that vegan after all, end quote, because the falafel burger she ate was cooked on a griddle also used for meat. Right. The thing is that means that your restaurant just has poor standards of hygiene, and you're blaming that on the customer. You're blaming the poor standards of hygiene that your restaurant has on the customer rather than yourself for being a fucking scum, like because you don't clean your grill or you don't use separate grills for things. So you've cross-contaminated someone's food and then blamed them for it. So that's pretty stupid. Alluding to a stereotype of vegans, he told Facebook users that the woman was wearing a tie-dyed t-shirt. "I'm serious." So why the fuck do you care what people wear? This goes back to my video I did a while ago about dress codes and smart clothing. Who the fuck cares what people wear? If you care what other people wear, you've got a serious problem. Linking her clothing to the belief held by some vegans that mass-produced foods and clothing are unethical, he suggested that the woman was a hypocrite and wrote, "It didn't matter that it was made in a Chinese sweatshop." How do you know that? Did you go and check the label? Did you go and further sort of insult your paying customer by going and looking at the label on her clothing? But Facebook users on the page did not take lightly to the comments. How surprising. And accused the restaurant of offering poor customer services by ridiculing the woman. Yes, and they're correct. You know, when you're in the hospitality industry and someone is paying you money, right, to serve them, and you serve them badly, you don't even bother cooking their food on a separate grill, and you then take the most cowardly approach of mocking them on your Facebook, even though they're paying your fucking wages, and yeah, that is pretty appalling, and yeah, doesn't exactly speak well of anyone in the hospitality industry. One user slammed the post as disgraceful, they are correct, and another wrote, "I cannot understand how a hospitality business can treat its customers in this manner. They need to cater for all dietary requirements without passing personal judgment." Yes, this person is correct. Responding to one user who wrote, "Do not mess with the vegans ever," Mr. Cluse said, "But they are so easy to mess with. They lack physical strength because of zero red meat in their diet." The kind of like eating burgers isn't good for you, I'm afraid. Eating burgers is not going to make you strong. You can argue about whether there's protein or whatever in red meat. Burgers are mostly fat. They're very bad for you, and people seem to think that automatically eating protein as well makes them strong. It doesn't. Protein helps your muscles repair after a workout. After a workout, your muscles are slightly torn, and protein helps them repair and become bigger. And that is why protein is important for being strong. You don't just eat protein and become strong. And people who don't realise that are a bit stupid. Plus there's plenty of protein, as we all know, in things like nuts, most types of beans, pulses, lentils, tofu, anything like that. There's plenty of protein. There's even some protein in fruit and veg. So the guy's an idiot. They are single-minded and Nazi-like in their, spelled incorrectly, conviction. The worst thing from a chef's point of view is they cannot cook a vegetable to save their life. I don't quite get whether that's supposed to be that the chef can't cook a vegetable to save his life, in which case he really shouldn't be a chef, or that the vegans can't cook vegetables to save their life, which is irrelevant in this situation because they're the customer. That doesn't make any sense. Nazi-like, yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that, because if someone comes into your restaurant and orders something that you don't normally serve, that is very like, it's almost identical to being a Jew being herded into a concentration camp and gassed to death, isn't it? It's practically the same experience. You know, I mean, how can you tell the two apart? Their veganism was inspired by some tragic childhood event, I think I'm supposed to say event, or a divorce or a car accident or some crap, he said. Even if it were, why would that be funny? That's just a really stupid thing to say on every level. Like someone has a tragic childhood event, as you know how to type would say, and they decided to give up eating meat and dairy because of that. Well, they were in a car accident and they thought, because of that car accident I'm going to stop eating meat and dairy. So this guy's an idiot. In a later post addressing the incident, restaurant staff wrote, quote, "We have ruffled feathers with our outspoken irreverence. For this we make 0, written in capital letters, apology. We have here for only 2 reasons: to supply great food at a reasonable price and have fun whilst we do it." Yeah, because there's nothing more fun than bullying the people who are paying your wages, is there? Yes, bullying paying customers. That's obviously how you have fun. And you've made 0 apology for this. You're not really supplying great food if you don't bother cleaning your grills, are you? You're providing pretty mediocre food. You're also a burger restaurant. I wouldn't get too, up your own arse here. I mean, this is the other thing about slagging off this woman's dress sense. It's like she comes in a tie-dyed t-shirt. It's like, you're a fucking burger restaurant. People don't go to burger restaurants in tuxedos generally, unless they're at Chester Races. That's a regional joke. You won't get that unless you live in the city I live in. What they said here: "Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to serve like-minded people. The whingers and complainers can eat elsewhere." Well, yeah, they probably can and will. But the owners appear to have since softened their tone and posted a photo of the herbivore section of their menu, accompanied by a post reading, "Dear vegetarians and vegans, for those who don't know, we're assuming many of you haven't even visited us." Well, I wonder why no one would visit you. I wonder why vegetarians and vegans would be giving you a wide berth. You're such lovely people. "These are the herbivore choices you could indulge in at Tuk Tuk. We'd even whip up a chip burger for you." So the super edgy, hardcore, outspoken people who make 0 apology ended up making a potted apology. Quite possibly because, well, she didn't make an apology, did they? They just acted like nothing, deleted their post and acted like nothing had happened, because they're a bunch of cowards. They've realised that even their non-vegan customers might be a bit offended, not because of veganism, but because they can see a restaurant slagging off someone who's a paying customer. And that's kind of offensive to everybody, isn't it, really? Mr. Clues later told news.com.au that he had received death threats and abusive phone calls. "I wasn't disrespectful at all," he said. Yeah, you were. "There have been a lot of lies told on the internet. It's exaggerated and stupid. It was taken out of context." I love how the in thing these days is whenever you say something stupid, you just say you were taken out of context. And that's supposed to just completely erase the event. It's like, "You're a fucking cunt and I hope you die." But you've taken that out of context. Like this guy's received death threats and abusive phone calls. How do you know you didn't take them out of context? How do you know these death threats weren't in a context you are simply too stupid to understand? So no, when you say something's taken out of context, you need to explain how it's been taken out of context and put it back into its original context so that everyone can understand the context. But you can't do that because you're just using the phrase "out of context" as a buzz phrase. You don't know what it means. "It was a humorous anecdote." Yes, Oh yes, your rapier-like wit. I was surprised by the indignation. If the girl is offended, I am sorry, he added. Oh, so you have apologised, even though you said you made zero apology before. So you've completely caved when you've realised you might not be making as much money if word gets around that you insult your customers. So what a complete prick. Yes, Tuk Tuk restaurant, that's spelled T-U-K in Australia, is somewhere I would highly recommend not eating at if you're ever in Australia. I may visit Australia at some point in the future. I will definitely not eat at this place. Because, to be honest, it just sounds like a scumhole. They don't clean their grills. They don't bother giving any sort of decent customer service. They treat their customers like garbage. So yeah, pretty appalling, really. And of course, they prove Godwin's law, comparing people they don't like to Nazis, which is really stupid, by the way. Anyone who knows anything about arguing knows as soon as you compare someone to the Nazis, you've pretty much just lost the argument. You know, it's the ultimate grasping at straws. Regarding the death threats and abusive phone calls this place received, because of my personal bias, it's very, very tempting just to not care about that. It's tempting for me to just say, don't care. But my ethics, because I'm better than these people, I don't approve of things like that. I have seen this a few times. I've seen various vegans in angry arguments with anti-vegans, and they do seem to feel it necessary to threaten these people with death, or to say these people deserve to be killed or slaughtered or whatever else. Not really in the spirit of veganism, is it, that, guys? I mean, I know these people are jerks, they're assholes, they're stupid, but threatening people with death just is never cool. It's not cool, even if you know how stupid, ungrateful, unreasonable, or horrible these people are. Death threats just aren't the way to go. You know, engage people in arguments. I mean, you can get into heated arguments if you want, but when you start threatening people with death, you're kind of becoming the thing you hate. Because veganism isn't about killing. It's about the opposite of that, but not killing. So, as horrible as these people are, and as disgusting as their restaurant sounds, and as much as they do deserve a lot of the heat they received, my ethics as a humanist, a humanitarian, you know, as well as someone who cares about animals, just do not allow me to approve of that. No matter how obnoxious and grateful and revolting I find these people to be. So anyway, fuck Tuk Tuk. Let me know what you think, everyone. Goodbye.